The remains of Erebus Station drifted through the void like a corpse in black water. Panels that once gleamed with human pride now spun slowly, scattering debris into a field of shattered glass and frozen blood. The silence was almost reverent. Admiral Helena Voss stood at the observation deck of the Resolute, hands clasped behind her back, watching the rotating wreck through the viewport. The hum of the ship's engines was the only sound that dared intrude. Her eyes, gray and unflinching, traced the outline of what was left of the colony's habitat ring. "Life signs?" she asked quietly. "None, ma'am," replied Lieutenant Reed, his voice tight. "Emergency beacons are transmitting on loop, but the atmosphere's gone. They hit everything: power, shields, life support. Surgical precision." Helena nodded once. The aliens had learned. They no longer struck wildly. They aimed for the arteries. "Put the visuals on main hollow." The bridge lights dimmed. The central display shimmered to life, projecting the wreck in brutal clarity. Charred bulkheads, bodies drifting weightless, a child's toy tumbling through the vacuum. A soft intake of breath rippled through the crew, then silence again. Reed broke it first. "Council's not going to authorize retaliation." "I know. They'll tell us to stay civilized. His tone curdled on the last word. Helena turned her gaze to him, measured, steady. "They'll tell us to wait for dialogue. And we'll wait." He hesitated. "For how long?" "As long as it takes." But her jaw tightened. She had spent years holding the line, swallowing rage behind protocol. Each lost life stacked another weight on her conscience. But humanity had worked too hard to shed its reputation as a barbaric species. She couldn't let fury undo centuries of diplomacy. A sensor ping interrupted her thoughts. "Admiral," said the calm officer. "Incoming transmission, Galactic Council Priority Code." "Put it through." The hologram shimmered again, resolving into the image of Counselor Vreen of the Alvar Dominion, silver-skinned, expressionless, eyes like polished stone. "Admiral Voss," he began in a voice smooth as oil. "Our condolences for your losses. The Council urges restraint during this volatile time." Helena folded her arms. "Volatile? They butchered a civilian station. There is no confirmed evidence linking this attack to any Concord member," Breen replied, with bureaucratic calm. "Premature accusations could destabilize peace." "Peace?" Reed muttered under his breath. Helena kept her tone even. "Understood, Counselor. I will maintain operational discipline. Earth remains committed to the Concord Charter." "Excellent. Your cooperation honors your species." The transmission cut. Reed exhaled sharply. He might as well have called us trained pets. "Enough," Helena said, though her voice lacked conviction. "We follow protocol." He turned to her. "With respect, Admiral, they're slaughtering colonists, and we're expected to smile about it." She didn't answer. Instead, she looked back to the drifting wreck. The sight pressed something inside her chest that no uniform could restrain. On the opposite side of the galaxy, Archstrategos Kareth Valuin reclined in his command throne aboard the Threxian flagship Goritha's Claw. His mandibles clicked in satisfaction as the holofeed replayed human news broadcasts: mourning, outrage, candlelight vigils. All predictable. "They grieve well, these humans," he mused to his adjutant. "But they do not retaliate. They are contained. Council pressure holds them," the adjutant hissed. Caretha's inner eyelids blinked lazily. "Pressure? No. Fear. They fear what they truly are. They pretend to civility because the alternative terrifies them." He rose, towering, his armor gleaming in the dim light. "Continue the strikes. Small, surgical. Let them choke on patience." Back aboard the Resolute, Helena attended the emergency debrief in the strategy chamber. Officers from multiple sectors stood around a circular table lit by the pale glow of tactical projections. Commander Imani, logistics head, spoke first. "We've lost 4 colonies this quarter. Transport lanes disrupted, civilian morale collapsing. And we can't even name the enemy. Because naming them would require the Council to act," said Reed, bitterness seeping through his professionalism. Helena tapped a control panel. The holo shifted to display known attack patterns. Whoever's coordinating this isn't random. They're testing us, mapping our responses, counting how long before we break formation. Why not just strike Earth? Someone asked. They don't want annihilation, Helena said. They want humiliation. Silence followed. Each officer understood the gravity. Humanity's strength had always been unity under pressure. But unity cracked under endless restraint. Orders, Admiral? Reed asked. Helena stared at the rotating holo, watching the red flares marking destroyed colonies blink slowly like bleeding wounds. We wait for Council authorization. But prepare contingency responses. Quietly. Yes, ma'am. Hours later, the ship drifted in silent orbit. Helena stood alone in her quarters, lights dimmed to mimic twilight. On her desk rested a photograph, her parents, both soldiers from the first expansion wars. Beneath it, a faded inscription, "Stay human, even when the stars demand otherwise." The console chimed. Incoming secure transmission, Admiral. Origin unknown. She frowned. Routed through encryption. Static hissed, then a distorted alien voice emerged. We found your survivors, human Admiral. They scream well. The feed cut instantly. Helena's hands tightened into fists. The console cracked under her grip. For a long moment she said nothing, breathing slow and deliberate until her voice steadied. Lieutenant Reed, she called. Ma'am? Begin Ghost Protocol. Encrypt communications, silent readiness across all fleets. No transmissions to the Council. He hesitated. That's against Concord law. So is genocide, she replied coldly. We're not breaking the law. We're preparing for when others do. Reed's silence was answer enough. The next morning, Helena addressed her bridge officers. Her posture was calm, her tone precise, but her eyes carried a weight that silenced the room. We remain bound by the Concord Charter, she said. Until further notice, all official operations are defensive only. A few officers exchanged uneasy glances. She paused. Unofficially, we will monitor hostile transmissions and track every fleet movement beyond human borders. If they strike again, I want to know before their ships leave orbit. Yes, Admiral. As the officers dispersed, Reed lingered. They won't stop, he said quietly. I know. Then why? Because, Helena said, her gaze fixed on the dark expanse beyond the viewport. The moment we act without proof, they'll call us monsters. And the galaxy will believe them. And when proof comes, her eyes hardened. Then they'll remember why they used to fear us. That night, the fleet drifted in solemn silence. On the main observation deck, Earth glowed below, a fragile blue jewel beneath the cold stars. Helena watched it, hands clasped behind her back, the reflection of her own face faint against the glass. She whispered to herself, almost prayer-like, They think we've forgotten who we are. A faint tremor shook the deck, the gentle shift of orbit correction. Around her, consoles hummed, and the ship's crew moved with quiet efficiency. Discipline still held, but beneath it, something ancient stirred. Helena's reflection stared back at her, eyes unblinking, calm, and lethal. Let's hope, she murmured. They never make us remember. The Med convoy had been marked with blue beacon lights, universal symbols of neutrality, mercy, and law. They floated in the black like stars of peace. Then they vanished. Helena Voss watched the replay in grim silence. The hollow footage showed the convoy's ships adrift, their hulls melted open by plasma fire. The attackers hadn't even scavenged. They'd destroyed and moved on. 1,800 dead, Reed reported, voice hoarse. Doctors, refugees, wounded soldiers. They didn't even try to hide it this time. The bridge of the Resolute felt colder than usual, air recycling units humming softly, indifferent to the horror playing on the central screen. Helena didn't speak. Her knuckles whitened around the edge of the console. The line had been crossed, and they all knew it. Council's calling an emergency session, Reed continued. They're requesting your presence. She gave a single nod. Patch me through. The lights dimmed as the holographic chamber formed around her, an illusion of the Galactic Council's marble amphitheater. Dozens of alien delegates appeared in spectral light, their forms hazy but proud. "Admiral Voss," began Councillor Vreen, tone heavy with feigned sympathy. "We are aware of the tragedy. But we must not escalate. The investigation will." Helena's voice cut through him, sharper than any blade. "An investigation won't bring them back. Revenge will not bring them back either." Her eyes narrowed. "You call it revenge. I call it survival." A dozen alien voices murmured across the chamber, layered with condescension. "Humans are emotional," one whispered. "Always dramatizing pain," said another. Helena waited for silence, then stepped forward, her image towering larger in the hollow feed. "We have abided by your laws. We have held back every instinct to retaliate. But if you call our patience weakness again, you'll learn what we've been holding back." "Is that a threat, Admiral?" Vreen's voice dripped with disdain. "No," Helena said. "It's a promise." Before he could respond, she terminated the connection. The holographic chamber dissolved into static. Reed stood near the comm station, hesitant. "That'll get you court-martialed." "Then I'll face it," she replied flatly. "But I'm done watching them die while we hide behind diplomacy." Hours later, deep within the Resolute's command bunker, senior fleet captains gathered for a closed session. Security locks engaged. All external transmissions ceased. Helena stood at the center, a faint halo of light around her. "This is now off record. Council channels are suspended. We operate under Directive Ares." A silence swept the room. Some of them had only heard rumors of the Ares Directive, an ancient contingency protocol written after humanity's first contact wars. It authorized unrestricted retaliation when all other authorities failed. Captain Imani frowned. "That directive was supposed to be decommissioned when we joined the Concord." "It never was," Helena said. "We just hoped we'd never need it." Reed glanced around the table. "What are the parameters, Admiral?" "Full readiness. Silent mobilization of the sole defense grid. Every drone, every ship, every orbital platform goes dark until ordered otherwise. No preemptive strike yet, but we prepare for total engagement." A murmur spread, disbelief mixed with grim acceptance. "And if the Council finds out?" Imani asked. Helena's expression didn't waver. "Then they'll find out the same way everyone else does, when the war's already over." 2 hours later, the command center pulsed with activity. Technicians whispered codes, encryption layers shimmered through data channels, and the human fleet's dormant systems came alive. Across the solar system, ships began silent maneuvers, positioning themselves like chess pieces ready for a strike. Reed approached Helena quietly. "There's something else. You should see this." He projected an intercepted transmission, alien military chatter. The Threxian voice was guttural, mocking. "The humans will cry before they act. They are domesticated now. Their wars are ancient myths." Helena listened, unmoving. Reed's jaw tightened. "They're daring us." "No," she said softly. "They're misjudging us." By midnight ship time, the war room was lit only by console glow. Helena sat alone before the broadcast terminal. The message she was about to send would echo across every system in the galaxy. Once it left this ship, there would be no going back. She closed her eyes for a moment, just long enough to remember the faces of those who had died. Not soldiers, but medics, children, engineers. People who had believed that peace was stronger than fear. Then she opened them again, and all softness vanished. "Begin transmission," she ordered. Reed's voice wavered. "Global relay active." The camera light turned red. Helena faced it, posture straight, expression carved from steel. "This message is directed to the aggressors of the human colonies, and to the Council that allows them to act. We have heard your laughter. We have counted our dead. And we have waited for justice that never came. This is our final warning. Stop your attacks. Withdraw your fleets. End your crimes. Because if you don't..." Her voice dropped to a whisper, cold, an absolute. We stopped pretending to be civilized. She ended the feed. For a moment, silence filled the bridge. Then Reed spoke, quietly awed. You realize what you've just done? Yes, she said. I told the truth. In the following hours, the transmission spread like fire. Every news network, every planetary feed, every military frequency across the galaxy replayed the message. Some dismissed it as human bluster. Others heard the tone beneath the words, and shuddered. On the Threxian flagship, Kareth Valuan watched the recording in his command chamber. He leaned back, mandibles clicking in amusement. She believes she frightens us, he said. But she only proves her nature, primitive and proud. His adjutant hissed. Their fleets are mobilizing. Silent, but moving. Let them, Kareth replied, smiling thinly. When they lash out, we'll crush them. The galaxy will see who the real savages are. Back on the Resolute, Helena stood before the panoramic viewport. Beyond the glass stretched the darkness of space, vast, unfeeling, and waiting. The stars looked no different than before, yet she felt their weight pressing down. Reed joined her side, gaze distant. Think they'll listen? No. Then why give them a warning? Because it's what separates us from them. She turned to face him, eyes steady. We give them one last chance to be better. If they refuse, then the fault is theirs. He studied her face, the restraint, the fury beneath it, and realized she wasn't bluffing. Humanity had been patient, cautious, civilized. But it was patience built on choice, not weakness. A new alert flickered across the comms. Unauthorized vessel movement near Titan base. An officer reported. Multiple alien signatures. They're not backing down. Helena's gaze hardened. Then this is the last mistake they'll make. She turned back to the viewport. The cold light of Saturn's rings reflected off the steel hull of her command ship, painting her in silver. For the first time in months, she allowed herself a small, bitter smile. Prepare the fleet, she said. No engagement until confirmed hostile fire, but keep targeting solutions primed. Reed nodded. Yes, ma'am. The deck vibrated faintly as power surged through the ship's weapon systems. Across human space, 1,000 ships stirred like waking giants. Helena stood alone as the stars drifted past, her reflection merging with the void. The galaxy had been warned. The next move wasn't hers to make, but if they forced her hand, she would not hesitate. In the silence of the command deck, she whispered to herself, not as an admiral, but as a human being pushed to her edge. We tried peace. Now let's see if they understand mercy. Outside, the Resolute turned toward the black horizon, its engines burning faint blue in the dark, a signal not of surrender, but of preparation. The calm before something vast and irreversible. The first attack came without sound. A formation of Threxian warships slipped through the dark between Saturn and Jupiter, their hulls invisible to standard scans. They moved like shadows, certain of surprise. They didn't know that the Resolute had been waiting. Contact, 30 signatures, vector inbound on Titan base, the sensor officer called. Cloak's signatures confirmed. Admiral Helena Voss didn't flinch. All ships phase weapons hot. Target by magnetic anomaly. Fire on my mark. Reed hesitated. They haven't fired yet. They will, Helena said calmly. Mark. The void erupted. Invisible beams lanced out, tearing through the darkness with surgical precision. Every shot found its mark. The lead Threxian cruiser exploded in silence, then another and another, until the black was filled with expanding clouds of debris. The ambush had lasted 11 seconds. None of the attackers survived. Helena stood motionless as the data scrolled across her console. Broadcast nothing. Let them wonder what happened. Reed exhaled slowly. So it begins. She didn't answer. Her gaze was fixed on the stars, distant and indifferent. Across the galaxy, chaos rippled. Alien fleets scrambled to confirm what had happened in Sol space. No one understood how the humans had detected stealth ships, how they'd struck without warning or wasted motion. Rumors spread, of ancient Terran weapons, of fleets hidden beneath the moon, of ghosts in the void. Fear began to replace arrogance. On his flagship, Goratha's Claw, Archstrategos Kareth value and listened to conflicting reports with growing irritation. Impossible, he hissed. They were outnumbered and unprepared. His adjutant lowered his gaze. Yet their system defenses are awake. Drones, platforms, ships, all synchronized. Kareth slammed a clawed fist onto the console. Then we will crush them with overwhelming force. Gather every fleet within 6 sectors. I want Earth burning before the next rotation. The Resolute's war room glowed with shifting projections of enemy movements. Helena studied them in silence, the quiet hum of engines filling the air. Around her, her captains stood waiting for orders. They're coming, Reed said. Full armada. Hundreds of ships. Good, Helena murmured. We won't need to search for them. Captain Imani leaned forward. Admiral, if they breach the defense grid. They won't. Helena's tone was cold certainty. Activate the Prometheus array. The room fell silent. The Prometheus array wasn't a weapon of conquest, it was one of deterrence, designed and hidden decades ago, never tested. It turned entire battlefields into electromagnetic traps. Reed's voice dropped. No one's ever used it. That's the point, Helena replied. They think we can't. In orbit around Mars, human fleets formed up in disciplined silence. There were no speeches, no declarations, just efficiency born from necessity. Ships shimmered into formation like a living organism. Each movement was coordinated, measured, perfect. Helena's face appeared on the fleet-wide feed. Her voice was calm, even gentle. You all know why we're here. You've seen the bodies, the broadcasts, the arrogance of those who think we've forgotten who we are. They think civilization tamed us. They're wrong. Civilization was our choice, not our leash. And today, we remind them why they should have left us alone. No cheers followed, only quiet acknowledgement, the kind that comes from conviction. The alien armada arrived like a storm. Hundreds of ships filled the void, their engines burning crimson, weapons locking across human space. Karetha's command echoed across his fleet. Advance. Wipe them from history. Helena waited until their lead formations crossed the perimeter. Then she spoke one word. Engage. The void exploded in coordinated brilliance. Beams of plasma and rail slugs streaked across the black. The Prometheus array activated, invisible waves pulsing outward. Enemy sensors blinked out. Shields collapsed. Human ships moved like predators, silent, efficient, merciless. Entire enemy squadrons vanished before they could fire. Communications among alien fleets descended into chaos. Their formations broke, colliding with each other in panic. Admiral, Reed called. They're blind. Every one of them. Keep them that way, she said. Target engines, not reactors. Disable, don't annihilate. Her restraint was deliberate, almost surgical. Humanity wouldn't destroy for sport. They would demonstrate control, even in vengeance. Minutes stretched into an hour. The void around Mars became a graveyard of drifting alien vessels. Human losses were minimal. Then the flagship appeared, Goratha's Claw, massive and scarred, forcing its way through the burning wreckage. Karetha's ship, Reed confirmed. He's heading straight for us. Helena's eyes narrowed. Patch me through. The comm link opened, static crackling before Karetha's guttural voice filled the bridge. You've sealed your doom, human. The Council will turn against you. The Council, Helena said evenly, already did when they looked away. You've become what we accuse you of. No, she replied. You made us remember what we tried not to be. A pause followed, thick with static. Karetha's tone shifted, less arrogance, more disbelief. You could have ruled this galaxy long ago. Why pretend to peace? Because we wanted to be better, Helena said. You mistook that for weakness. That mistake ends now. She cut the channel. Target his engines, she ordered. Reed hesitated. We can destroy him right now. I said engines. The Resolute fired. A single pulse of white light lanced through the void, slicing clean through Gorotha's claw's propulsion array. The massive warship shuddered, spinning out of control. Its power core dimmed. "Signal to all fleets," Helena commanded. "Cease fire. Hold position." The battle was over. In the aftermath, silence reclaimed the void. Disabled alien ships drifted, systems offline, their crews stunned. No human vessel moved to finish them. The message was clear: this could have ended differently. Reed approached, exhaustion lining his face. "Council's demanding communication. They're asking what you've done." Helena didn't look away from the viewport. "Tell them the truth. We defended ourselves. And the Threxians? Alive. For now." She finally turned, meeting his eyes. "Send aid pods. Recover survivors, ours and theirs. Humanity answers with strength, not cruelty." He gave a slow nod. "Understood." Hours later, she recorded her final message, calm, unflinching, her voice echoing across every galactic frequency. "To all species of the Concord, we have defended our home. The aggressors live, though they do not deserve it. Let that mercy be our final act of restraint. We ask for peace, but not at the cost of our survival. This is humanity's last warning. If you bring war to us again, we will not stop at defense." She ended the transmission. Reed broke the silence after a moment. "Do you think they'll listen?" "They don't have a choice," Helena said quietly. "Now they know what civilization really costs." Later, alone in the observation deck, she watched the glow of distant wrecks fade into the darkness. The stars were serene again, as if nothing had happened. She placed her hand on the viewport, eyes reflecting the light of Earth far below. "We held back," she whispered, "because we could." Behind her, the quiet rhythm of the ship's life support filled the air, steady, enduring, human. Reed's voice came softly over the calm. "Fleet reports all systems stable. Awaiting your orders." Helena's lips curved into a faint, weary smile. "Tell them to stand down. We're done pretending for now." The connection clicked off. Outside, the Resolute drifted past the wreckage of the alien armada, engines dimmed, a ghostly sentinel among the stars. Humanity had reminded the galaxy what it truly was: not monsters, not saints, simply survivors who had chosen peace until peace was taken from them. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy understood the meaning of Earth's silence.